You're welcome to Fashion Designer School Online. I'm going to be showing you how to sew mocky jacket like as it is in the picture. So please like, comment and share. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. So this is the cloth I'm going to be using. So this particular thing, I bring the edge together. So if you have your material with you there, you bring the edge together. Then from the edge, you're going to measure 1 and 2 inches, 1 and 2 inches from the to the center downwards. So you take your ruler and roll it. Then after rolling it, then you are going to measure the shoulder. Okay, if your shoulder is 17, you divide it into 2, it give you 8.5. Okay, so after rolling it very well, then you take your shoulder, is 8.5, which is 17, then you mark it over there. After marking it over there, you look from that place, this place I measured right now. So you are going to slice the shoulder. It's not going to be a straight one, it's going to be a slide one, like bending one. So I measure 1 inch from that place to that place. Then you give it allowance, your sewing allowance. Then after giving your sewing allowance, then what you need to do is the breast. Okay, so the breast point, you are going to measure it. So after measuring the breast point, then the length, then you measure the length, you give it just allowance 1 inch of allowance. So that's the 1 inch you are seeing over there. So you see, we have our bust, we have our tummy, which is the waist. Then from that breast point, you're going to measure your bust. Okay, you measure your bust, you measure your waist, which I did now. Then you measure the hip, then also you roll it. So this is, then after rolling it, then you're going to measure your where you're going to be having the hand curve. So like 4 inches, that is what I measured, 4.5 or 4 inches. Then always make sure you give that the side, you give allowance like 2.5 inches. Then you now have your hand curve, which is the armpit. So you everything round of the armpit, at least let it be 9.5. Okay, so 9.5 round in the armpit. So this is the armpit you are seeing over here now. So I have my armpit, I have the shoulder. So what is remaining now is the pants. Okay, which is the pants, which is going to give us a very curve of the breast. So our normal breast point is 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. So you also measure from the armpit 4.5 to get the correct measurement of the breast point. Then if you look at the material, you see that if you look at the picture, you see that there is a breast point. Then you just roll it. Then you roll it exactly to this breast point. Then you are going to measure half inch, then 0, 0, okay, to the breast point, 0. So you measure half inch in this side, half inch in this side to the 0. Then you also measure from the down half inch and half inch to the 0. Okay, it's just like a half inch where you can use to take your cloth. So half inch, then from the breast point 0, then to the down half inch, then you just roll it. You see the way I roll it. So this place will be cut out. So I'm going to do a thanks in this side, thanks in this side. This is where we will cut it out. Then also thanks in that place, thanks anywhere you see thanks, that is where I will be cutting out. So you look, so if you look at the center, this is the place where I will be doing the zip, the button. Okay, so now let's cut the neck. The neck, I took the neck 3 inches. Okay, the breadth of the length 3 inches, the length of the neck 5 inches. Then the neck is, you can do V or you can do U, but I do it like a U, a little bit U. Then if you look at the down, you see how the down looks like, it's like something like V. Then we are going to take it from this particular place where we roll at the breast point, we are going to roll it to the other place. Okay, just use your eye gauge, so that maybe you want it to be longer, you want it to be shorter, then use your eye gauge. But the important thing is that you take it from where the breast point is. So anywhere you see the thanks is where I will be cutting out. So you see how beautiful it is at the drawing. We remaining the curve at the down. If you look at the down, you see the curve over here. So we are going to do a just inch just half inch. Then when we have our half inch or 1 inches, do it 1 inches. Then you take it from that same place where we do our pens, from that same particular place, then you cut it. You just like roll it. So we are going to cut that place out. So if you look at the main design at the side of the cloth, you see how it is. So if you look at the picture, you see the way the under of the picture is like curved inside because of the back of the landing. So it will not be rested at your hips. Maybe it will not be rested at your bottom. It will be rested before your bottom. So we have everything right now. So we are cutting, so you can do your cutting. So we have I'm cutting the shoulder, the armpit. So if you look at the original design of the cloth, which is the cloth I'm going to be using to cut this particular, or to sew this particular dress, is already on the background. So look at the way I cut it on the background. You see the way I am cutting the pens is very, very important because of the female breast, because of the female boss, so that when she put it on, it will not be as if something fold on the breast. So this is the reason of the pens. So look at it. So, but the important thing is that you are going to notch this particular breast point. You will notch this side and notch this side. In case you are joining it, you're gonna join it with exactly what you'll notch. So even if maybe it is now bigger, or after joining it, you now see that there is some allowance at the armpit, don't worry. So after joining it, you can trim it. So now this is the make cloth. I bring the two edge together. This is the make cloth I'm going to be cutting. I bring the two edge together, put it on your table. The two edge, which is the two edo together, you put it on the table. So you are going to cut it exactly the way it was shown to you with that pattern I drawed. So you are going to cut it. So now look at the way I cut it. So if you have a cloth that have an edo, please make sure you put it very well on the table so that the two edo can be fixed together. So I'm cutting it right now. You see how beautiful it is at the background of the make cloth I'm using. So we have everything. So this is what I told you. Notch, always notch your cloth. Then take your take your gum stain. Please gum it like this, the way I gum it at the picture. You please like and follow. Then after gumming it, just go and sew the place you notched before. Sew it and make sure you iron it. Then the next thing you need to do is to iron it. After ironing it, then the next thing you need to do now is to place the cloth, put it on the cloth, on the material, spread your material on top of the table. So you need to cut this particular part out, the part which is we are going to put it from the beginning of inside before we cut the landing. So this is the particular part you are going to cut. This place I am putting my shock. So this is the place you are going to cut it from. Okay, so you draw it. After drawing it, then draw it exactly, then you cut this particular part of the cloth out. If you don't understand, put it on the comment section. So right now, this is exactly the landing we are going to use to landing it. So this is where we cut that particular part out from the cloth, from another cloth, which is that cloth, so that we can actually join these particular pieces with the cloth to turn it inside. Okay, so because the cloth have a landing inside, which is the waistcoat have a landing inside, so you place this particular one on top of this landing, then place the cloth also on top of the landing, which you started from this beginning, from the beginning of this edge. Then place the cloth on top of the landing. Then after placing the cloth on top of the landing, you are going to cut the landing, giving the landing at least 1.5 inches allowance side by side. Okay, not from the shoulder, but side by side. Then at the down, you can add 1 and 2 inches allowance. Okay, so this is how it is spread. Then after that, you cut it exactly with this cloth. So you roll it, give it as allowance, as I said before, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 allowance, 1.5 allowance. Then when it comes to the down, you give it at least 1 and 2 inches, or you can also leave it 1.5 allowance. Okay, so let the down be straight. Let the down be straight. Then after that, you see the way I cut it, giving it an allowance. So you join it to that same pieces. Join the landing to that same pieces. After joining it, iron it. Like, comment, and subscribe. So iron it very well. You see, we already have our facing. This is the facing we are going to use to turn the main cloth. This is the facing. Look at the landing inside, and this is the main cloth. So if you look at the original picture, this is how they did it. So now you are going to put it together like this. After putting it together like this, you are going to sew it like this, the edge. Sew it like this to the down. Okay, sew it like this to the down. Please, only to the down. Then after sewing it like this to the down, take your iron it very well. Only to the down, not the down, like only this curve, only the curve, only the down curve. So not the other, not the down. If you look at the cloth, I did not sew it all through. You see the opening at that place. So it's only the curve before the down. Okay, please subscribe and like. So the next thing is to turn the cloth again. After turning the cloth again, after turning the cloth, then look at it at the picture. Then you are turning the cloth because you are going to sew the armpit. Only the armpit and the down. Only the armpit and only the down. You remember that we didn't do the down, which is the last down. So you sew it like this. The way I put my hand, you sew it at least your normal inches. You take it, then after taking it, you are going to sew it exactly you see at the picture. Then you turn it. After turning it, then bring your landing. We are going to cut the back now. Bring the landing together, fold it into 4. You are folding it like this. As you bring it together, you fold it once. Then place the main front at the landing. Then after placing the main front at the landing, you see the way I draw it. So you are cutting it like this. Then this is the neck. At least 1 inch. You take 1 inch. At least not 1 inch. Sorry to yes 1 inch. Take 1 inch. You see it there. Then give it allowance, which you are going to be using to be sewing, which is your 0 allowance, which is your normal inch allowance. Then you see the way the back is, so it's not going to be too wide at the back. So this is your allowance. You give this place allowance 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Then the side, you just do the side normal, cut the side normal. Then the down, you cut the down like this. Take it from that place, but give it allowance, at least 1 inch allowance or 1 and 2 inches allowance. But if you look at the front of the cloth, if you see that I post the cloth frontward, I bring the main cloth frontward, then the landing is backward. You see it. So that is the place where the button will be. So you are not going to cut it equal. So go to your machine, sew it the way I did mine now, then notch it. After notching it, then the next thing you are going to do is to sew the cloth to the shoulder. So you are going to join the shoulder right now. So, or before we join the shoulder, let's take the pins. So measure 10 inches, then measure 4 inches where you are going to be taking the pins, like the way the pins is at the back of this material, of this main cloth. Then take your pins and iron it. Your normal pins, like 1 inch at the down. Then from that place which you measure from there 10. Then after doing that, the next thing you are going to do now is to join the shoulder. Join it the way you see it on the picture. After joining the shoulder, then you take the armpit exactly how the shoulder is. Then take your normal measurement, your balls, your shoulder, your balls, your hip. Then after taking your normal measurement, join the side. Joining the side, then if you look at the way So see the way I mark it at the down. So if you see there is one chalk in this side, one chalk in this side, that place is the particular place where you're going to use to turn all the cloth outside. So once you sew it from here to this place, you sew it from that place to that place. So you turn all the cloth outside. So you are going to have something beautiful like this, exactly as it is in the picture. Very beautiful. So thank you for watching, and please like, follow, and subscribe. If you are interested on how I sewed the trouser, please put it on the comment section.